Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we're going to tell you what the most important things in the world, or excuse me, in the land, are to us this week. And we're going to do another edition of our Attraction Envy segment, Toontown versus Storybook Circus in Walt Disney World. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, and points around Southern California, this is the Disneyland edition of the DIS Unplugged. This is the Disneyland edition of the DIS Unplugged, episode 739 for the week of August 6th, 2018. The DIS Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Let the experts at Dreams help you plan every aspect of your next Disneyland vacation, all at no additional charge. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friend, Senior Content Director for the DIS, Ms. Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everybody.
Out in California, our Associate Producer, Mr. Tyler Crouch.
Hi, everyone.
And the lovely and talented editor and contributor to the DIS, Miss Katrina Manzoni.
Stop, you flatter me. Hi, everybody.
I tell you all the time how beautiful you are and how much I love you.
It.
Okay? Because you are, and I do.
Keep it going.
And another beautiful woman that I absolutely adore, who I'm so thrilled can be on these shows with us, Miss Mary Jo Mulatto Willie.
Hello, everybody.
And I don't think people realize the history Mary Jo has with this site. I mean, MJ, we're going back to like the beginning.
Yeah,
like
almost.
Like, what was it, like 99?
December of 1998 is when I found the DIS.
When she found the DIS. And she became a moderator on the boards.
Yeah.
And then when I launched Dreams Unlimited Travel, you were an agent with me for many years.
Yes.
With Dreams, now a webmaster on the boards and a moderator of the Disneyland Forum on the boards. And she does this. And she's always done it out of the goodness of her heart. And she's been an amazing friend to me. And I absolutely adore her. So I just thought I would say all that.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual.
It better be.
Aww.
It better be. Or I'm going to come out there and make fun of your castle. That has been, and just so you know,
that.
Yeah, and then she gibbers at me. Exactly. This has been an ongoing thing with Mary Jo and I for years. I know it gets under her skin when I make fun. I love the castle, Disneyland Castle. I do, but I always make fun of it. I say it looks bigger to her because she's so small. And I say things like, be careful walking down Main Street, trip over that castle. And then
and then you write to me in Spanish insulting our castle.
Yeah, well, I went on Facebook. I would go do the Google translation.
Oh, man.
Because she would whenever I make fun of the castle, she yells at me in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. So I will go on Google and do the Google Translate and then post that back to her on Facebook, which she loved.
That's amazing.
I was dying. I had to show my daughter Kelly, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this!" And then of course I responded, and then he just kept adding more.
Oh yeah. No,
it was fun.
Google Translate makes it easy. So I mean, but grammatically, was it correct? Like when Google Translate does it?
Yeah. I say 99.9%.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Good to know.
I
All right.
probably shouldn't admit that to you, though.
Yeah, because now I can do stuff with that.
Yeah.
I can do stuff with that. All right. So we are making a little change to our format. And we rebooted this show a little over a month ago, and I'm going to play around with this format until I get it where I want it. Oh, and I didn't mention we recorded last week's show and this week's show at the same time because I'm heading out to California, and I didn't even mention that Rhino isn't here because Rhino is on his way right now as I'm recording this, on his way to California. When you watch this, we will still be in California. What's that?
He's gone.
Stop with that. Stop with that. He's gone.
That was good.
Okay, so like, just so people understand, in the Tuesday show this past week, people were asking where Steve Porter was, and Craig was monitoring the chat room, and Craig said he's gone. Some people thought he had died. Some people thought he had been fired. Okay,
It's a cruel joke, man.
so we don't say that. We don't say that. Rhino is just not in the room right now. He is out in California. He's not dead. He's just unavailable. So anyway,
good, though.
what we're gonna do, we because we pre-record the show, sometimes a few days ahead of time, sometimes a couple weeks ahead of time, depending on travel schedules. It's really tough for us to do news stories the way we would do on the Tuesday show because by the time the show goes out, it's an old story. So instead of doing a news block per se, what we're going to do is what the most important thing to us this week is. And then everybody goes around. So it's kind of a combination. It could be a news story. It could be like what would be a rapid fire in the other show. And so we're going to do that this week. And I am going to start off by saying the most important thing to me this week is that they have announced that the start of the holiday celebrations at Disneyland will be November 9th. And I have not had a chance to be out there too many times during the Christmas season at Disneyland, but oh my, they do it so good. If you're a Walt Disney World guy like I am, it's just taken to a whole nother level out there. First of all, they decorate everything. They don't just decorate Main Street and call it a day, which is what we do, which has bothered me for years. The entire park is decorated, and there's so much special stuff. And look, I love what we do for holidays out here. I'm not saying I don't. But the Christmas Fantasy Parade's coming back. Believe in Holiday Magic Fireworks is coming back. It's a Small World holiday. They do an overlay of their Small World, all themed for the holidays. Haunted Mansion holiday actually starts like in late September because they do the overlay for Halloween. It's Nightmare Before Christmas, so they just kind of keep it up through Christmas because it covers both holidays. What there is no word on yet is whether Jingle Cruise is going to be coming back because it was not there in 2017. So we don't know if Jingle Cruise is coming back, but we can always hope for that. California Adventure doing their special festive foods marketplace, which is I believe entitled Viva Navidad. Is that correct, Mary Jo?
That's one section.
It's Festival of the Holidays.
Festival of the Holidays. Cars Land, what they do in Cars Land, decorating Radiator Springs for the holidays is so cool. Really, really creative. And of course, we don't know whether World of Color Season of Light is going to be happening, if World of Color on any level is going to be happening, and you're saying it's not. Well, we can hope. Craig, my producer, is the Death of Hope. That is actually his given name. His mother named him that when he was born, Death of Hope Williams. We just call him Craig because it's easier. But Craig is back there going, it's not. So...
It will be
you
a
got
great
something smart
surprise
you
if
want to
it's
say?
up,
I know
though.
you do.
I just can't think about who the sidekick is, like on Regis and Kelly or whoever it was back then.
Oh, Gelman?
Yeah, Gelman.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
Gelman.
You're Mike
Yeah,
Gelman.
totally
Okay.
Gelman.
Mike, so you can slightly hear me in the background making hand gestures.
Totally Gilman.
So, but
I
I'm
think it's
very
worth-
excited. I'm very excited about the holidays out at.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting too that unlike in Disney World, where if you want to take in all of the holiday magic, you need to get that extra ticket for like the Christmas party. In Disneyland, there's no Christmas party. It's just holidays all the time. So
Oh,
you can
you
see
guys.
you can see the fireworks and you can see
parade.
the parade all without an extra ticket. So
Yeah, it's not a
And
hard
then over
ticket
at
event.
California Adventure, you mentioned Viva Navidad. That's a whole nother production with
yeah.
their celebration. That's wonderful.
I love
What,
it.
what do they do?
Yeah. They have it's not really a parade, it's a celebration with characters that come out, and they have these huge puppets that are they're like 14 feet high that they go back and forth from South. It's a South American, Central and South American celebration of Christmas, and it's a musical show that they put on, kind of like a parade with mariachis and Brazilian music also. That's just so exciting when you listen to it, and the dancers and everybody, right? You cannot watch that show without smiling.
Yeah,
I know.
my favorite part is the three caballeros are there. Like,
Yes.
that's like the highlight for me, because I do love that show. It's really cool. So I'm happy that it's coming back.
So very excited about the holidays at Disneyland starting November 9th. Jackie, what's the most important thing to you this week?
Well, with all the construction that we've been seeing at Downtown Disney, they are actually starting today going to start having food trucks every afternoon. So they're going to be on the West End, and we don't know how long they're going to be there, but because that area is supposed to close soon.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if it's supposed to be a distraction from the construction, it's going to be there for like 3 years.
Yeah,
But
because
just saying.
They're going to close that whole area soon. But they've got so we discovered that they have all kinds of balloons and colorful banners and tables and chairs. So it's kind of cool what they've got set up now today. So we'll see if how long it's going to be.
Yeah, they needed something like that, because that entire section is like ghost town right now. There is nothing going on. Every store is shuttered, and it just seems weird and quiet over there. So it's nice that they're trying to plus it up with the balloons and the trucks and
And
stuff.
they're bringing back the trucks, because we've had the trucks before in the summers. So I'm glad that they're bringing back the food trucks again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, what about you? What's your favorite thing or most important thing this week?
Well, mine is just kind of I'm a little bit concerned we talked about Bing Bong in the last episode, Bing Bong Sweet Stuff opening up, and we've talked about Paradise Pier, Lamplight Lounge, like not exactly being ready, not having everything completely done. And so I just am starting to worry that I don't know if Disney's getting a little cocky, or if they just we're in a rush, and maybe it won't be the same thing here, but I'm starting to worry a little bit about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and having that open up before it's ready for prime time, because we've seen, we were talking about it in the last episode, how like the centerpiece of the candy shop isn't even in place yet at the time of the recording, and it's like that should be kind of, to me, that the highlight needs to be there. Their drinks weren't even running properly. So it's just like, I hope that when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opens, we're not walking around going like, oh, there's a construction wall there still. And, and we're hearing from cast members, oh yeah, that'll come, this will come at a later date. I hope that we have the droids running around and the characters and all the stuff that they've talked about when they first opened, because if not, I think that's a big miss for Disney. And so I'm just starting to get concerned that they are pushing too hard for these things, and I hope that it's not a trend,
I think though the difference being that, where there were clearly budgetary concerns with the overlay to Pixar Pier. I mean, they were trying to do it as inexpensively as they could, and that's part of the reason why some of these things weren't ready. I don't think that's an issue with Galaxy's Edge. Billions and billions of dollars are being thrown at this project on two coasts right now. And whereas they had to do Pixar Pier in the span of 3 months, roughly?
They had like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah.
Was Pixar Pier was closed that long?
It was closed for a while.
Was it?
Definitely the Incredicoaster and things like that, where it took about 9 months, I think, for Incredicoaster to be complete.
Okay, so I stand corrected. So it was closer to 9 months, but still, because that's what I had heard, was that a lot of the stuff was budgetary. That they wanted to kind of do it on the cheap as much as possible. Which you'd think they would have learned the lesson from the original building of California Adventure, when they had to turn around and spend another $1 billion+ completely rehabbing that park. I don't think that's. I think if it's a planning issue, that's one thing. But the amount of money the company is throwing at this, and the importance that is placed on its success, I would be stunned. I would be stunned if it's not ready for prime time the day it opens.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm just really hoping that ours is a little bit more ahead of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that's being built at Hollywood Studios, because Disney promised that Disneyland's would open first. So I'm hoping that we're a little bit, I don't know, more like we have most of the stuff done prior to opening, so we're ahead of schedule in a way. So it's actually completely done by the time it opens, because ours is supposed to open how many months? 2 months in front of yours?
I can't say where I get this from, but suffice it to say, it comes from a very, very good source. The amount of pressure being put on the contractors to get this done on time and get it done right is extraordinary.
Oh, I bet.
That's about as much as I'm comfortable saying.
And it needs to be. This is like going to be a flagship thing. I mean, this
that's
is going
why
to
I
be what
say
you want to come.
That's why I said that I think we're maybe comparing apples and oranges here, looking at Galaxy's Edge and Pixar Pier. Pixar Pier was an overlay. Pixar Pier was, I think, they ran into things they didn't expect. Whereas with Galaxy's Edge, they're literally building something from the ground up, and I think they probably have more experience with that and a better project planning mindset with that than maybe with Pixar Pier. I'm just grasping at straws here, but my guess is that the level of importance placed on this, I don't think Bob Iger was wringing his hands wondering how Pixar Pier was going to go. But I will tell you, Bob Iger is like on top of everything that is going on with Galaxy's Edge. So I think there's a little bit of a difference there. But we'll see. I'm trying to allay your fears, Tyler.
No, I tend to agree with you that I would think that they're going to put a lot more eggs in their basket with I don't know if that's a good way to say it, but I tend to agree with you that they are really focusing on Galaxy's Edge, and that they don't want to screw that up. I mean, that would be, I just hope that we don't get there day one and it's like a lot of the features are missing, because, we talked about Pixar Pier too, but one of the other things was like over in Disney World, Toy Story Land opened up, and even that has some issues with it. There's no shade. They have to redo all of the barricades that they've put all over the place there. Their menu items, aren't working out 100% at the Woody's Lunchbox. Just things like that it seems like it just should get ironed out. And I know Toy Story Land, again, is nowhere. That's no Galaxy's Edge. I get it, but it's still a trend that I don't like, and I hope that they learn their lesson and do the diligent work that's required to get Galaxy's Edge where it needs to be right when it opens.
And little known fact. Well, first of all, not little known, but Tyler is my producer out on the West Coast. But the little known fact is that his name at birth was also Death of Hope. So it's Death of Hope Crouch out in California, and Death of Hope Williams out here in Orlando. So just little inside tidbit for all of you who followed us for any length of time. All right, thank you, Tyler. What about you, Katrina? What's important to you this week?
Merchandise. I love merchandise. That's like my thing. So we went to the Disneyland Hotel, and they just brought out like whole new kind of like little area, bringing back the 50s vibe when Disneyland Hotel first opened.
Oh, I have to go now.
So here's one of the shirts that we got.
Oh.
So here's the front old Disneyland Hotel sign, and then the back.
Oh no! For those listening,
That's very cool.
Look at that. So it has Mickey Mouse in a cool red convertible car, pulling up to the hotel, getting ready to have a dinner date with Minnie Mouse, probably.
Oh, I so have to have that shirt.
And then
we could be twinsies.
And also they do have a dark gray one with the Disneyland Hotel logo on the front. We didn't get that one. And then for women, unfortunately, it's not as cool as that shirt, but it's also unisex, so it's fine. So you can get that too. But for the women, it's like a nice thin hoodie. It's a zip-up hoodie, but with cool Minnie Mouse. I don't know if you can see that. She's like hanging out, getting some sun on a little, I don't know, like a little lounger. And it's embroidered too, which I really love. And so this is going for $49.95, this zip-up. It's really thin, super soft. The T-shirt, $24.99. So it's actually not bad of a price. Yeah, usually it's like $32.99, I would say, for sometimes, but this is $24.99, so it's a good steal. Also, they do have keychains, that's double-sided. So one side is Mickey Mouse with like the car and in front of the hotel, and then on the other side is Minnie Mouse hanging on the lounger, getting some sun with her cool little sunglasses. They have a magnet.
Oh, wow.
And so
for those, Katrina, hold on just a second. I just want to make sure for those who are listening and not watching, we have to make sure we get pictures of this stuff posted.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we do. We have pictures.
And so that you guys can see it. But it's all this really cool, retro-looking merchandise from the Disneyland Hotel going back.
Yeah.
You know,
I really wish they made a shirt for this. But I love all the characters. Donald Duck hanging out, getting ready to go in the pool, but Goofy's pretty much taking up the whole pool. And
awesome.
I just think it's really neat. So I'm really happy that Disneyland Hotel got this.
I love the logo. It's on the magnet, right? The happiest day on Earth.
Yeah, so the happiest
day on Earth.
Oh yeah, there's also on the. Oh my gosh, my bad. This is my whole point. So yeah, so also it says it on the women's sweater that it says the happiest day on Earth. I don't know if you can on the sleeve.
Oh.
So it has the happiest day on Earth. So
that's cool.
Good pointing that out, Mary Jo. Thank you. I almost forgot about that. That was like my.
And that particular item of clothing for women and Rhino.
Yeah.
Because he will wear women's clothes if the mood moves him.
He's probably wearing it now.
He's probably wearing it now. All right. Well, thank you for that, Katrina. What about you, Mary Jo?
Pleasure.
What's the most important thing to you this week?
Well, right now we're going through some really unusual hot weather here in Southern California, particular Anaheim. That's inland. Not as bad as before. It was up to 117 degrees. Hopefully, we won't have another heat wave that's that bad. But we're hitting don't laugh, high 80s, low 90s, and even up to mid 90s. But we have more humidity now than we used to have. And my cousins were out here from Texas, and I played with them in the parks. And we were all noticing that we were getting hot and tired during the day. So for the visitors who come, who are especially if they're going to be coming for more than one day, I highly recommend getting to the parks early in the morning when it's still cool and enjoyable, hitting the attractions that might have the queues in the sun during that time period or in the evening, and then maybe going back to your resort to cool off, rest, play in the pool, and just get out of the hot sun during that time, or go to the attractions that have longer that take longer, that aren't so short, or that the queues are undercover. I highly recommend that during this time.
Well, let me just say,
it's hot.
Let me just say, without making fun of, because I call them snowflakes when they start complaining about the heat. You know, when I was out, everybody was complaining when I was out there last week that, oh, it's so hot. I'm like, this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. I mean, you have a breeze. There's,
when we get the breeze, that's great. Sometimes we don't get that breeze, though, but you're right. We do get a breeze that cools down the park in the afternoons.
Yeah.
But
I would take the dry heat versus your humidity, because I could not survive when we were on vacation a couple weeks ago in Florida. I wanted to die.
And
so I was so happy to come back to 100 degrees in California.
And like I was saying before we started recording, literally I have the apocalypse outside my house every afternoon at 3. Where it really especially, and it seems worse this summer than it has been in the last few years. With this, I mean, just like kind of scary, the thunderstorms and the hail, and then it's sunny again, and it's like, okay, it's all good now. Everything's fine.
Yeah, the glasses rattle.
Oh yeah,
at our house, like
absolutely.
You can hear them in the cupboard. It's really something.
Yeah. So, it's. But I understand your point. The need, if you're not accustomed to that, if you don't live in Florida, and deal with that on a daily basis, then I understand what you're saying. And the need
Right,
to
and
get out
our
of the
heat wave typically starts in the like mid to the end of August to early mid October, and it started earlier this year. So I don't know if we're going to get a reprieve until we get that real heat wave. We get a lot of Tyler and Katrina are saying no. I don't think so.
I'm
either.
hoping. I'm like, come on, reprieve, come on.
Yeah, it's not
But
gonna
it's not
happen. Though. It's gonna be
happening, right?
bad. Yeah.
Debbie Downer over
Well,
here.
there's Death of Hope Crouch, yeah.
But
You can find me on Twitter.
Change your handle.
Yeah, I want actually. You know what, folks? I want to see that trend. Hashtag Death of Hope. Death of Hope.
That's so sad.
Just because it's hotter in Florida doesn't mean it's not disgusting over here too. I mean, I have
Yeah.
to say, it's just like,
But
like at least you can hide in the shade over here. I'll give you that. Like hiding in the shade works over here.
You cannot.
But you cannot do that in Florida.
You can't
but
hide from
but
anything
at the
here.
same time, you can't just be hiding in the shade the entire time you're at Disneyland. So
And one thing also in Florida, when you go into every single building over there, you're blasted with ice cold air. That doesn't happen so much here in California. It'll be cooler, but it's not going to be freezing cold. Like I remember when I go over there, how it's that
I don't.
extreme.
No, I'll tell you something. At least at the Grand Californian, when I was out there last week, you could have hung meat in that lobby. I'm
Oh
like,
my
what is
gosh.
wrong with you people? I have to go upstairs and get a jacket. I'm so cold in here. But
That's like
I think
Florida
also part of it too for me is that whereas I live here in Orlando and Walt Disney World is literally 20, 30 minutes away from me. It's a special trip. No matter albeit this will be I'm leaving Sunday. It's the sixth time I've been out there this year so far. It's still a special trip. So it's someplace I'm visiting. My mindset is different.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're local and you're experiencing some of this stuff, you have one mindset as opposed to when you're visiting from out of state. So like for me, like I said, it's like, oh, this is gorgeous here. So, but your point's well taken.
I will say at nighttime you can relax a little more in California than than Florida. Like Florida, it's just disgusting all times of day. But at least it cools down a little bit in California. So
There's a big difference. I think you're right, Tyler. Once that sun goes down and you've got the trees and the buildings giving shade in that late afternoon, the difference is palpable here, and it's so much more enjoyable. So don't go away from the parks thinking that that's it, that it's going to be hot all the time. Luckily, since we're so much closer to the ocean, we get that breeze that does reach Anaheim to that point and cools it down a little bit in the afternoons. But midday, just keep that in mind that you're going to have the sun beating on you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
So there's that. And I had a smart
I could go
comment.
on, but I know that I need to stop now.
No. I had a smart comment I was going to make, and I decided not to. But all right, let's move on and let's do attraction envy. This is where we those at World say what we envy about Disneyland and vice versa. And this week we settled on Toontown out in Disneyland versus Storybook Circus here in Orlando. And actually, you know what, Tyler, I'm going to let you start.
yeah, sure. So for me, there is no contest. I think that Toontown blows Storybook Circus right out of the water, and it's for a couple of reasons. It's number one, the Toontown theming is off the charts. Like everywhere you go in that area, there's windows that have little jokes on them. There's little interactive, like you can open a mailbox and you can hear the letters talk to you. There's all these fun things to do that are just like you could miss them if you're just walking by quickly. And then the second thing for me is Toontown has Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, which is one of the best dark rides, I think, in Disneyland for me personally. And I think Roger Rabbit is a really underused character, especially because, the subject matter and the movie itself is not necessarily for small children. And so I just love to see that stuff. And Actually, as long as I'm talking about rides, I guess I would say I even like Gadget's Go Coaster better than Barnstormer, Goofy's Barnstormer, and it's simply because it represents a character who is, again, seldom seen. Gadget, for those who don't know, is from Rescue Rangers, and she built this whole roller coaster out of small little like Q-tips and just different things like that. And when you're in the actual ride station, you can see all these Rescue Rangers, emblems, and you can see all the artwork that she put together for all of her blueprints and everything. And so, yeah, her goggles are like hanging on like one of the hat racks or whatever. And those are some of the main things. But then on top of that, you can meet characters at Storybook Circus, but the character interaction in Toontown is just plussed up by the fact that you're in Mickey Mouse's house. You're in Minnie Mouse's house. It's got this whole lead up to the characters that, you don't get when you're in Storybook Circus. It's literally just you're waiting in a line and then you see them, in their circus costumes, which I do like. I think the circus costumes are neat. The one place that Storybook Circus has us on is they've got Dumbo. Dumbo is obviously a classic attraction, and they have two Dumbos as well. They have two different rides, so it's got the capacity is twice as high. But that for me kind of sums up my feelings on it. I just feel like Toontown has so many nooks and crannies, has all these great attractions, and it just, for me personally, the theming is there. It's like you walked into the Roger Rabbit movie. It's really amazing what they've done. And Storybook, to me, the circus theme is just not as interesting. That might just be my opinion, but there you go.
Well, I get what you're saying. I don't fully disagree with you. I mean, the theming in Toontown is phenomenal. Now, if we're just going to go off theme, then I would agree, give it to Toontown. However, Toontown is also the single most congested place on the face of the planet. It's a small area. If you're not on a ride or in a store, it just is like this conflagration of people. That's why, like, every time I go back there, I have to like steel myself because it's not just people. It's like lots of little kids, because it should be, and so they're all running around, and so like that. Whereas our Storybook Circus area is part of our new Fantasyland, and I don't necessarily distinguish between the two. So for me, and this is something that World, I think, just does better in general. It absorbs its crowds better than Disneyland Park does. Our Magic Kingdom definitely absorbs our crowds better. It's larger. And, Disney learned from that in Disneyland when they built World. And I am not a fan of Cartoon Spin. I'm just not a fan of Cartoon Spin.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't do it for me.
If it has to do with the spinning, then that's an optional thing. Like, it's not necessarily like the teacups you're gonna spin. There's no way around spinning on the teacups. But in Cartoon Spin, for those that don't know, you have a steering wheel and you can spin it around however you want. And I actually think that's one of the fun things. I'm not necessarily spinning my car around the entire time, but sometimes I'm like going through the ride backwards so that I can see certain things that I haven't seen before. And that's the really cool thing about that ride too, is they had to design it from a 360 degree perspective.
I'll try it again when I'm out there.
And you can also try to have it stop spinning. Like Rhino and I, the last time he was out here, well, not the last time he was out here, when he was with me, we tried going through and having it not spin. So you're using all your muscle power to try having it not spin.
Yeah, here's my point. If not getting motion sickness requires that I have to go to the gym for a week before I do the attraction, that's a problem for me. And that was like, it's like, this is too much work. there are other places I have to work. I don't want to do that when I'm in an attraction. That's just one of the things. Just something. I mean, I loved the movie and everything, but the movie didn't like affect me the way, you know, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and some of the other classics, the modern classics, Disney films did. So I don't have that emotional attachment to Roger Rabbit the way I do to some other things. So I think that may also play into that. But I also don't have an overarching emotional attraction to Dumbo either. But I really appreciate the way they did the Storybook Circus area. It was a much needed area focusing on kids, and because of it's you know, it's part and parcel with New Fantasyland. It's wider and it's easier to navigate, and I don't know. So I'm not, like, from a theming standpoint, 1,000% absolutely goes to Toontown, no questions asked. But there are other aspects, I think, of Storybook Circus that should not be overlooked. The water play area, for example, especially given the heat and the humidity that we have here, great place for kids to cool off. It's really sequestered in the back, so that it's not like, because there have been like there are certain water play areas where you're walking through Epcot or something and you're like, I really don't want to get wet here. So I liked where they put it. I like that I can go through Storybook Circus and take the path that path back over to Tomorrowland from there without having to go back through the park.
Yeah.
I like the way that flows. There's some cool merchandise shops in the Storybook Circus area. So, and you know, there's a cool meet and greet area back there as well, right by the right by that water attraction. So, I think, again, theming absolutely Toontown, but this is not as cut and dry as, like, you know, your pirates versus our pirates. Not nearly as cut and dry, in my opinion. What do you think, Jackie?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm kind of with you on that, because Toontown is another place that is a really special place for me, because we took our first family photo on Chippendale's treehouse right there on the stairs, and there were 8 of us. So it was my husband and I, our 2 kids, and my brother and his wife, and my parents. So we started out as just 8, and now we are 10, and because they've got 2 kiddos. And so we're hoping to recreate that picture, but really special. So, and the little roller coaster there was my kid's first roller coaster ever. Oh. So and they even got to jump in Goofy's bounce house when you could jump in there. And now everything is hard. So the kids can't jump in there. But it's still really cool. And, you know, Mickey and Minnie's houses are both there. To me, that is such a big deal, because it's all about the mouse, right? So when you go to Disney, you have to be able to see where he lives. That's a thing. And when we
demolished his house.
We did.
We demolished his house.
It's been, I can't, I'm not over it yet. I'm not over it. I don't want to say I'm angry, but
This is Jackie's angry face, by the way.
Yes. I'm upset because you don't take away the House of Mouse's house. I mean,
that's a mouthful.
What is happening here? So, and then you can pose on the cars, and I have this great picture of my daughter when she was 3, and one of the cars there is, it's like curvy. And so she was mad, and she sat up in that car, and she was really mad because we let her older brother drive the steering wheel, sit in the driver's seat. She was as mad as could be, and she curved her entire self to the same curve of this car while she was throwing her hissy fit. And it is the cutest picture you've ever seen. Like, she's 16 now, but seriously, the fit she was throwing and the fact that this car was like that made the best picture ever. And So when kids can just get into a car like that and be the driver, and whatever happens to be going on, you make the best of it. Whatever. She was throwing a fit. I didn't give a rip. Kids throw fits. That's what happens. This is a perfect place to do it. Knock yourself out, honey.
So what? But do you prefer Toontown over Storybook Circus? That was an awful good argument for Toontown.
I love Toontown. I love it. But at the same time, the circus is so cool. Minnie Mouse and her pink floofy everything is my very favorite thing in the planet. That costume that she's got on in that place is my favorite. But if I had to pick one, I would have to say it's got to be Toontown. I mean, Storybook Circus is really cool. I love the peanut shells in the concrete. The details in that land are incredible. But it's got to be.
Just for reference, they're not real peanut shells.
No.
When that land opened, the number of people that freaked out because their kids had peanut allergies and they were thinking there were actually peanuts in the sidewalk.
Yeah.
It's concrete, people. It's not real peanuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea that happened.
What's that?
I said I had no idea that happened.
Oh, no, it was like
freaking out over a peanut allergy.
No, it was like guest services was overrun when that area first opened with people literally parents melting down, freaking out. You're trying to kill my kids. No, it's concrete. It's concrete. What is the matter with you? It's obvious it's concrete. The mere image of a peanut is going to kill your child. You need help. You need medication. If you think that there's really stinking peanuts in the concrete.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They would never do that. Oh my gosh.
Because Disney's so absent-minded that they don't care about anybody that has allergies.
Yeah, especially peanuts, for crying out loud. I mean,
come on.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another vote for Toontown. Katrina, I always see where this is going, but go ahead.
Toontown. Well, I grew up with Toontown, and also, like, when we went back because we're older now, it's fun, but when we went with Tyler's cousin's little kid, it just opened my eyes to something completely new, and it kind of brought me back to when I was a kid, because Toontown has so many little things that adult eyes can't see, and so it kind of brought me back to when I was a kid, and we chased him around to like Donald Duck's house and Goofy's, and we went up to Chip and Dale's treehouse, and I'm like, how can I get up here? And he's like running up there because it's meant for little kids, but I mean, it just brought me back to just, pressing the doorbells and seeing what sounds they make, and opening up random boxes and seeing what sounds they make. And then the fountain has these like buttons on the bottom, like little plaques, and you just jump on them and they make different sounds. So it's just like, I don't know, it's so kid friendly, Toontown, that yes, there's no shade, which totally is a bummer. But for a kid to run around and just have at it and just, because when you're younger, you just want to touch things and touch buttons. And sometimes your parents keep saying, no, don't touch that. And here you're just like, have at it. Open the doors, see what sounds they make, and just have fun and just find new things that go on. And then you see characters, and it just brings that whole land to life. Because as soon as you go down under that bridge, it's just like you open up that whole new, like, it's just like Toontown. It's just like a new world. So I love it. I'm always partial to it.
All right. What about you, MJ?
I'm gonna have to say, I like how you said that, Katrina, because I love the entrance to Toontown. You're entering into this toon world, and I would have to tell everybody, don't listen to Pete about Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin, because it was great. And I still can't figure out. As you're at the end of that attraction, there's this black hole. It's a black area in the wall, and then your car goes through it. And I don't know how they figured out to do that still.
That's like my favorite part, Mary Jo. Yeah. I love when Roger Rabbit's like, I found a portable hole.
Yeah, you go right through the portable holes from the movies, and that is one of the most amazing effects.
Yeah, it's just really, really cool. And also, as Jackie had mentioned, that Goofy's bounce house is no longer a bounce house. It's true. Small kids love going through there and exploring the furniture and the little garden that's out there. I was there with some friends, and they had these probably like toddlers and a couple, maybe like 4 to younger. And those kids played in that yard. We had to drag them away so we could go on real attractions because they were having so much fun. And so and then you are also mentioning the pads, Katrina, around that fountain with the musical notes. There's just like they were saying, so many cool things that you can touch, pull, and do over there in Toontown. After saying that, I do have to caveat, I've never been to Storybook Circus Land in Magic Kingdom. So so many people had said that it didn't measure up to Toontown, but after hearing you, Pete, talk about it, now I am going to be going to Walt Disney World in January. I'm going to go check out that land. I haven't had the opportunity to explore the Magic Kingdom entirely because we're always concentrating on getting our fast passes and going on those attractions that we have to go on. This time I'm going to explore the Magic Kingdom, so I'll go over there. But I have a feeling I'm still going to say Toontown. That nod.
Oh,
You're right, Mary Jo.
In fairness, look, they're also very, in many ways, very different areas. But, if I have to vote, I'm going with Storybook Circus. Like I said, I think Toontown's adorable. And again, I don't have kids, so I'm going just from my perspective. And if I'm going to walk around someplace at night, and I have to choose between those two places, hands down, it's Storybook Circus. I think there's also something to be said about the atmosphere that area of the park takes on at night. It's absolutely incredible. It's unlike any other area in any of in any Disney theme park. All of New Fantasyland, that area at night is absolutely unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that I think about. Craig, I would imagine if you were on camera as part of the show, where would your vote go? Would it go to Storybook Circus or Toontown?
Brainstormer.
Probably Storybook.
Barnstormer.
Just slightly.
So Craig's on my side.
But I love Roger Rabbit.
But even loving Roger Rabbit, you would still slightly give the nod.
Dumbo's my favorite character.
Dumbo's your favorite. Okay.
I am looking forward to trying seeing the two Dumbo attractions next to each other, how they work that out.
See, I think Mary Jo really needs to recuse herself because she's never done.
No, I refuse to recuse myself.
I have a question. Do they still have that play area when you're waiting in line for Dumbo when you go inside the circus tent?
Yeah.
They still have that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing is over in Orlando, the Dumbo is awesome because of that. I mean, even just walking by that play area, I've obviously never been in it because it was built while I was an adult, but it's just like you look at it and it's the whole theme of the clowns from the circus act in the Dumbo movie, and it's like it kind of is a very neat thing to see. It brings that part of the movie to life, and that just pluses up that attraction, even though you don't get to really experience as an adult. So
Agreed. All right. Well, there it is. What is it? 4-2 in favor of Toontown.
What would Rhino say? Maybe
he'd be all about Toontown. Yeah. He'd be all about Toontown.
Oh, okay.
Craig,
well,
you agree with that?
I'm leaving his vote out.
Yeah, I'm almost positive
I
it would be Toontown for him, but I can't really speak for him because I can't talk like Ethel Merman. All right, thanks everybody. That is going to do it for this episode of our show. You like that, Mary Jo? You like that? But doesn't he? He sounds like Ethel Merman after a sex change. So, all right, that is going to do it for our show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next week with another episode of the Disneyland edition of the DIS Unplugged. Have a great week, everybody.